So, in 2092, climate change has totally wrecked Earth, making it almost impossible to live there. This corporation, UTS, builds a new home in space that's like a mini-Earth, but only the chosen ones get to live there, and even fewer become citizens. Meanwhile, everyone left on Earth is stuck with polluted air, crazy high taxes, and extreme poverty. The founder of UTS, Sullivan, is all about making Mars the new Earth by growing genetically modified plants. He's telling reporters about his plans and announces that a Mars colony will open soon. One reporter calls him out because his projects only help the rich and leave thousands suffering on Earth, not to mention all the space debris flying around like crazy. There are workers called space sweepers who risk their lives to clean up the debris and sell it for income. Sullivan admits his plans aren't perfect and agrees to talk to the reporter privately. On Earth, Tejo is desperate to find his daughter and tries to bribe the authorities with his last bit of rice to see a body in the morgue. They take him there, but it's not her. The next day, a huge piece of debris crashes into a satellite near the solar battery charging area. A group of space sweepers rush to grab it, but suddenly, a ship called Victory shows up. An android, Bubs, stands on top and throws a harpoon to snag the debris. Victory takes off, causing the other sweepers to chase them. Bubs starts pulling in the debris while Tiger handles the ship's machinery. When other ships try to steal their loot, Captain Jang uses Victory's arm to push them away. Pilot Tejo makes a risky move, flying Victory around the solar panels and through tight spaces to escape. They almost crash into the residential area but manage to avoid it, only breaking an antenna. They enter the factory, a waste management satellite, to sell the materials they've gathered. Tejo sells everything, but the pay is terrible, and they have to cover the antenna and taxes. In the end, they're left in debt. Tejo gets mad, and the clerk threatens him with a knife. On TV, there's a news report about an android named Dorothy who was stolen from UTS by extremists called the Black Foxes. She looks innocent but is actually a weapon, so people should call security if they see her. Tejo doesn't pay much attention and leaves. That evening, the Victory crew is tense because of their debt. An argument turns into a fight, leaving the humans unconscious. Bubs saves her money, dreaming of getting a better body with synthetic skin. Later, the crew works on the debris they picked up, which turns out to be a broken ship in good condition. Suddenly, some lights activate inside the ship. They open the cargo box and find airbags floating out, along with Dorothy. They take her into Victory, and Tejo thinks about his own daughter. The news shows the missing ad for Dorothy again, and the crew gets scared, thinking she's a weapon. They run for cover when she opens her mouth, but she's just sneezing. The crew hides in their rooms and decides what to do. Tejo tries to tie Dorothy up but gets scared and hides. He notices she has a bag and grabs it to examine the contents. There's a phone with missed calls for Dr. Kong and some UTS paperwork. The crew flies toward a residential district for non-citizens, leaving Dorothy behind. They go to a bar to discuss what to do. Tiger tried calling the police but was put on hold. Tejo thinks they can make money by selling Dorothy to the Black Foxes. They argue and reach an agreement. Tejo uses a machine to distort his voice and calls Dr. Kong, showing him a video of Dorothy and asking for $2 million in exchange. Kong agrees, and they set a meeting spot. While the crew dresses up for the exchange, an alert rings on the computer, revealing the police are coming. They take off the disguises and hide Dorothy, acting normal as an officer comes aboard. The cop explains his station got a call from the ship and notices Tiger gesturing at someone behind a door. With a taser in hand, he searches the room, but Dorothy stays hidden. Tejo bribes the cop, and Bubs records everything. Jang threatens to report him until he leaves. Tejo and Tiger put on the costumes again and go to a club for the exchange. Tejo meets with Kong, who checks for weapons before telling him to move. Guards nearby get ready to shoot. Tiger keeps Dorothy safe in a bag, but when they open it, Dorothy is gone. She's wandering among the dancing crowd, who suddenly freeze when they notice her. Everyone's devices show Dorothy's missing ad, and they step back in fear. The guards open fire, but Tejo drags Dorothy out of the way just in time. Chaos ensues as everyone runs away in panic. Kong keeps trying to reach Dorothy, but the crowd pushes him along. As Tejo and Tiger look for Kong, a guard notices them and fires. Dorothy's power creates a shield that dissolves all the bullets. The guards keep shooting until there's no one left in the room. Tejo and Tiger sneak away with Dorothy and leave in Victory. Since the ship has damage, they stay in the factory. Jang scolds them for failing and destroys Dorothy's phone, saving Kang's number. Sullivan chats with his scientists about nanobots on Mars building plants and an ocean. Someone brings him Dorothy's goggles from the club, and he stares at them as he scolds his team, saying they must find evidence that there's no hope on Earth. His veins turn dark, and he wiggles in pain. Dorothy asks Tae-ho for scissors and uses them to cut tomatoes that have grown on a plant. Tae-ho is impressed and takes Dorothy to sell them to other sweepers, making some money and bonding. Bubs watches over Dorothy, and they share makeup. Bubskin discovers a secret about Dorothy, but she changes the subject to ask about Tae-ho. Bubs explains Tae-ho was a child soldier who knew nothing but violence. One day, his team killed a mother, and he found a baby in her arms. Instead of sending her to Earth, he adopted her as his daughter. He discovered she was deaf from an explosion and blamed himself, unable to hurt people anymore. UTS fired him, and they ended up in a poor neighborhood. One evening, while Tae-ho was trying to make money, his daughter wandered away. Space debris crashed in the neighborhood, killing thousands and sending others running in panic. Tae-ho couldn't find his daughter and watched part of the town fly away into space. The authorities explained they had about 3 years to find her body, after that there would be zero chance of recovery. A search company could be hired to find her quickly, but he couldn't afford them. To this day, Tae-ho is still looking for her, which is why he joined a sweeper crew. Bub's story is interrupted when court agents find her with Dorothy. Tae-ho rushes to answer a call, agreeing to a new meeting with Kong. Unfortunately, the court agent sees Victory, announcing it's now property of the bank because of the crew's debt. Tiger admits he doesn't want to sell Dorothy anymore because he fears what they may do to her, but Tae-ho needs the money to find his daughter, and the crew needs to get the ship back. When Dorothy goes to the bathroom, a man follows her. The crew hears her scream and realizes she's been kidnapped. They start looking for her, and Tiger remembers the tunnels. He finds a man taking Dorothy away. Tae-ho arrives just in time to take Dorothy from the kidnapper by surprise. The guy takes out a blade, but Tae-ho quickly defeats him with his soldier training. More masked criminals come out, and Tiger angrily beats them up. Jang unmasks the leader, discovering the clerk that usually buys their debris. Sullivan is having a meeting with the reporter who called him out. Sullivan explains he doesn't choose citizens based on economic status, his system runs DNA tests to choose the people with the best genes. The reporter points out that UTS is draining Earth's economy and creating too much space waste, effectively accelerating Earth's death. Sullivan describes how he saw everyone in his village die when he was young and lost his family, promising to make humanity better. His guards bring an unconscious black fox, and Sullivan tells the reporter he'll make him a citizen if he shoots the fox. The reporter does it after some hesitation, but Sullivan sees this as proof the guy is trash and kills him while his skin changes color. The crew confronts the kidnappers while Dorothy rushes to the bathroom. Jang points out robots don't poop and concludes Dorothy is human, which Bubs confirms. Bubs uses a special light to reveal the kidnappers' tattoos, proving them to be black foxes. Dorothy was born with an illness that destroys her nerves, so her father Kong injected nanobots into her body. These repaired her nerves but also gave her special powers to make plants grow, meaning she could heal Earth and Sullivan's Mars project wouldn't be needed. When Sullivan heard about Dorothy, he sent his guards to kill her. The labs and scientists that worked with her were destroyed, but Dorothy couldn't be killed because the only way to kill a nanobot is to use a hydrogen bomb. Such a bomb can be found inside the factory's anti-gravity system, so the soldiers want to put her there and blow it up, then the factory would crash on Earth and cause enough natural and nuclear disasters to finally put an end to it. In short, Sullivan wants to cleanse humanity. The crew hears gunshots and discovers the soldiers have arrived at the factory and are shooting anyone in their way. The foxes escape through the back door while Jang and Tiger walk normally through the corridors, pretending to be random workers. Tae-ho takes Dorothy and escapes through the vents, but Dorothy sneezes, and a soldier sees them. They start moving faster as the soldier opens fire, and Jang creates a distraction by activating Victory. Tae-ho and Dorothy make it to a bridge and run as they dodge the fire from the guards, jumping at the last second to grab onto the ship before it leaves. A soldier also jumps and lands on top of Tae-ho, pulling at Dorothy until they're both falling. The soldier makes a perfect landing and gets ready to catch the girl, but Tiger swings by and catches her first. Once everyone is aboard, Tae-ho flies out as fast as possible. There are missiles following them, and one explodes too close to the ship, sending it flying into the debris field. Soon Victory starts failing, and the crew can't keep up with all the necessary repairs, allowing a nanobot infestation to get into the ship. As the nanobots cover the entire Victory, Dorothy activates her powers and sends them all away in seconds. Then she passes out, and Tiger notices her heart has stopped, so he immediately starts CPR. To his surprise, Dorothy farts and wakes up as if nothing happened. Victory leaves the debris field and picks up the news, which announces the crew members are now wanted criminals. They've been classified as members of the Black Foxes and blamed for the attack at the club and the factory. Sullivan is going through a medical treatment while looking at the crew's files. Jang used to be an engineer for the UTS Genius program and invented some important devices, but she deserted at 19 to form an anti-UTS organization. She tried to assassinate Sullivan but failed, and her whole group died during the attempt. Tiger used to be a cartel leader on Earth who fled the planet to avoid capture since he was sentenced to death. If he's ever caught, he'll immediately be executed. Tae-ho was the inaugural commander of the Space Guard and the first soldier Sullivan carried into the company in his own arms. The Victory crew gets a message from the Foxes and meets inside an old colony. The Foxes come aboard, and Dorothy runs to reunite with Khan while Jang notices something strange. The place is covered with EMP explosives, which then activate and shut down all the ship's systems plus Bubs. Soldiers enter Victory and start shooting down the Foxes before kidnapping Dorothy. Jang's crew tries to help her, but the soldiers quickly knock them down. Sullivan arrives and puts a hand in Jang's mouth to extract a microchemical bomb that she almost used for self-destruction. He doesn't kill anyone because of their shared history and instead monologues about his plan. Then he drops a bunch of money as payment for Dorothy, mocking Tae-ho for grabbing it to find his daughter. Sullivan tells his people to put Dorothy in the factory and crash it on Earth. Then he appears as a hologram for all the UTS citizens and announces Mars is ready to be lived in. Tae-ho is collecting his part of the money, but the others consider it dirty and don't want it. They want to rescue Dorothy and ignore Tae-ho when he says they'll die trying. While Dorothy is tied to the hydrogen bomb, Tae-ho goes to the search company and pays them to find his daughter. While waiting, he looks at her old things and finds some loving words she wrote for him even though he was a drunkard who ignored her. Realizing he's doing the same now, Tae-ho runs back to Victory and agrees to help rescue Dorothy. As Tae-ho flies as fast as he can, Jang takes out her old gun from her rebel days and stands outside the ship to open fire at the incoming soldiers. She can't keep up with everything, so Bubs comes out and starts swinging among the enemy ships, destroying them with her harpoon. Unfortunately, the harpoon breaks, and Bubs has to go back. Tae-ho asks Tiger to push the machinery to its limits and starts flying toward Earth, only to pull Victory back at the last second. The missiles following them aren't fast enough and burn down when crossing the atmosphere. There are still a few ships following them, but Victory goes fast and enters the factory just in time. The crew rushes inside the gravity chamber and rescues Dorothy. Jang checks on the bomb's programming and discovers the detonator is inside it, so it'll go off if she tries to hack it. They need to take Dorothy over 5,000 kilometers away so the shockwaves won't destroy her nanobots. Their discussion is interrupted by the arrival of a soldier, who quickly knocks Tae-ho and Jang out. Tiger tells Dorothy to run back to the ship while Bubs tries fighting the soldier, but she is easily defeated too. Then Tiger tackles the soldier into a corridor and locks the door behind him. Tiger tries his best to fight, but the soldier is too strong and easily beats him up. A desperate Tiger chooses to open the hatch, causing both of them to be sucked out by the pressure change. With his axe, Tiger defeats the soldier and climbs back into the chamber. The crew gets ready to leave only to hear there are attack drones coming. Jang opens communications with the other sweepers and explains Sullivan's plan, asking for help. Jang flies Victory out of the factory as fast as possible as Jang shoots as many drones as she can. When they make it outside, they discover all the factory workers and other sweepers waiting in their ships. By working together, the sweepers start bringing down dozens of drones at the same time with impressive aim, allowing Jang's crew to safely fly away to save Dorothy. Meanwhile, the recording of Sullivan's monologue made by Victory is sent to the news, and now all humanity knows the truth. A furious Sullivan leaves in his own ship and finds Victory, opening fire to stop them. Jang fires back as Tae-ho flies as fast as possible, but all the shaking causes some metal to fall and trap Jang under it. Suddenly, Sullivan uses a mechanical arm to hit Victory, and Jang ends up floating away from the ship. Next, Sullivan climbs on top of Victory, and Bubs tries to stop him, only to get cut in two. A wounded Jang manages to hold onto the ship and reaches the booster system, activating it just in time to send Victory into a flying speed that throws Sullivan off. Unfortunately, the booster doesn't last long, and Sullivan reaches Victory again, breaking it open with the mechanical arms. To his shock, he finds the bomb inside. It turns out the crew took the bomb with them when they left the factory and dropped Dorothy with the other sweepers before they flew away. This way, they acted as bait for Sullivan and saved everyone at the same time, even if it cost their lives. The other sweepers watch with tears as the bomb goes off, killing Sullivan and destroying Victory.